Tonight, one bill continuing to cause controversy could ban most law enforcement from wearing masks which obscure their identity.
Yeah, it's not most law enforcement, it's all law enforcement. We'll get to the bill in a second. But California is the first state to pass a law in which you cannot wear a face covering or mask to conceal your identity as a law enforcement officer.
What's your reaction to this?
Good luck with that. We're going to keep doing what we're doing.
Remember, this is a state-level bill that somehow has federal agents tied into it, even though the state can't tell the feds what to do. We'll dig into all of this, but first, make sure to please like the video. It's the #1 way you guys are helping this channel, but it also helps others see the videos as well. And I think people want to see what's going on in California, because I really do think people are being misled with this bill in California.
I want to get your opinion on something that just came out of LA County. Its Board of Supervisors just voted unanimously to draft a new ordinance prohibiting immigration officers and federal agents from wearing masks when doing their jobs, except for carrying out any sort of medical procedures. What's your reaction to this?
Good luck with that. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. Did they propose any sort of rule on unmasking Antifa?
Okay, so spoiler alert, when it comes to this bill, there are police unions in California who don't like this bill. We'll get to that in a second because, again, it loops everyone together, not only federal agents. So the interview you're seeing here with Tom Homan, that occurred back in August, but I want you guys to take a look at the screen. This was a lengthy process. Everything started back in June, even before that, and now we're all the way up here in September, where the bill is sitting on the desk of Gavin Newsom. Now, is he going to sign it? Will he not sign it? We'll get to that later.
The bill's author, Senator Scott Wiener, tells me this is to address the ongoing ICE raids happening in the state. But a law enforcement representative says this will only end up negatively impacting law enforcement.
And remember, California voters, you're being told this is to address the ICE agents and the deportations, but I'm a little confused. Maybe somebody can explain. Here's what the bill says. This bill would make it a crime for a law enforcement officer to wear a facial covering in the performance of their duties, except as specified. The bill would define law enforcement officer as anyone designated by California law as a peace officer who is employed by a city, county, or other local agency, and any officer or agent of a federal law enforcement agency or law enforcement agency of another state, or any person acting on behalf of a federal law enforcement agency or agency of another state. So here's the problem and why local police unions don't like this bill. It's supposed to be about the federal officers, the ICE agents, the deportations, yet when you loop in everyone else, state police, sheriffs, local police, who are not even supposed to be working with the federal agents, everyone gets looped together, and it actually can make the police look like the bad guys when they have nothing to even do with the deportations. Now they're being told, hey, you can't wear a mask anymore.
Phone video capturing the confrontation between a group of neighbors and law enforcement officers in LA County Sheriff's Department uniforms.
They were just all over the place. They claimed they weren't ICE, but yes, they were.
But law enforcement says that is not the case. The Sheriff's Department telling KTLA the activity was part of an ongoing investigation.
I can show you a bunch of other videos where the exact same thing happens. Protesters assume these are ICE agents when they are clearly marked, clearly identifiable, but they're not wearing masks, yet they're still being called ICE agents. So you can see why when you loop in the sheriffs, the Metro Police into a bill that's supposed to be about the deportations and the ICE agents, now you're making them look like the bad guys even more when they're already dealing with protesters and they're not even wearing masks. Okay, before we continue, we're about to get to the lawmaker who justifies this bill. Please subscribe to my channel so I can give you guys updates on stories just like this and many others. It takes a bunch of research, a lot of cross-referencing, and that's what we do on my channel. I want to give you guys the best and most accurate updates, so please subscribe. Here we go.
ICE agents, bounty hunters, and who knows who else are running around basically wearing ski masks, grabbing people from their front yards, from bus stops, from their workplaces, and throwing them into unmarked vehicles and taking them we don't even know where. This is terrifying.
It's because of this, Senator Scott Wiener authored SB 627.
SB 627 will ban this kind of extreme masking with reasonable exemptions for medical masking, SWAT teams, certain kinds of undercover operations.
So, to make things even more confusing, there are some times where an agent, they can wear a mask. Yet, the way that the lawmaker was describing the time you can wear a mask is during like a SWAT operation. And that's not just a mask, maybe that could be a gas mask. But the point I'm trying to make is, I just showed you guys a video where sheriffs were not even wearing a mask, yet they were being identified as ICE agents. There's a lot of confusion in this bill. For the everyday citizen, you're gonna have to now find out what the difference is between a gas mask, a tactical operation, ICE agents, not even ICE agents are the only ones doing deportations, Metro Police, can they wear masks? It's a lot of confusion here, which is why the local police don't like this bill.
If passed, this would apply to all federal and local law enforcement except the California Highway Patrol.
It does not apply to state law enforcement, which is a tiny percentage of law enforcement. And I don't see any scenario where a governor of California allows CHP or other state agencies to do this.
Yeah, to make this even more confusing, all of a sudden, Highway Patrol, this doesn't apply to you. But again, for the everyday sanctuary citizen, are you going to know every single agency, who it applies to, who it doesn't apply to? The only reason why I keep making this point that the everyday citizen can see this highly confusing and problematic is because on my channel, I cover the protests that occur in downtown Los Angeles in front of the federal building. And guess what? A lot of the times, it's the police officers that are engaging with the protesters, and the protesters are like, hey, you're not supposed to be working with the federal agents, yet technically speaking, they're not working with the federal agents, they're just trying to protect the streets, but it looks like they're working with the federal agents. I know it all sounds confusing, that's kind of the point. And now when you have a blanket law that says everyone can't wear a mask except for Highway Patrol, doesn't apply to them, you can see why this creates more confusion in the state.
Peace Officers Research Association of California, or PORAC, opposed this bill, saying local law enforcement officials are being punished for the actions on the federal level.
Unfortunately, the federal officers, they have a job, they have a specialty, and this is what they do. Immigration's their ballywick. Local law enforcement is to protect the communities, but we're now being pushed in the middle of this, which we didn't want to happen.
This is why I think Gavin Newsom is not going to sign this bill. You guys can leave your comments down below how you feel about this, but I think it's because a lot of these police unions, police officers, they don't support working with the deportations, but now you have a law that makes it look like they're looped in with the federal officers and like they're working together because of a blanket statement in law. And I really do think if Gavin wants to run for the presidency, he's going to have to prove to the United States that he actually cares about officers and security. That's like one of the biggest talking points Americans like is safety, security, and how do we get that? A lot of times through our police officers. So now when you're making the police officers look like the bad guys who don't even support these deportations, that is a horrible look, and I would be shocked if Gavin signs this. Absolutely shocked.
Unfortunately, the federal officers, they have a job, they have a specialty, and this is what they do. Immigration's their ballywick. Local law enforcement is to protect the communities, but we're now being pushed in the middle of this, which we didn't want to happen.
Adding this will cause more liability for officers while on the job.
Officers that are wearing masks in good faith are going to lose their qualified immunity, and unfortunately, we're a very litigious society. And any opportunity to sue a police officer or police department or local agency, it happens.
I feel like I'm giving advice to Democrats in California right now, but I'm just being honest here. This is going to cost that state so much money if people start to see an officer and they're wearing a mask. Maybe they're sick. Maybe they're just wearing a mask because there's mosquitoes in the area. Hey, you can't wear a mask. Take a picture, post it on the internet. Let's sue the agency. Let's get a big lawsuit. This could literally happen. So I'm not trying to like create this fear or anything. You just heard it straight from one of the union leaders. This could be a problem also for the taxpayers. Once again, I do think Gavin wants to sign the bill, but I think he's going to want a revision where it specifically just says federal agents and ICE agents. Even if this bill cannot touch the federal agents, it's still symbolic enough to show the Californian voters, hey, we support you.
And it happens quite frequently. And unfortunately, the officers now are going to be on the hook potentially.
Senator Weiner says officers would be liable in that case only if they intentionally violate the law while wearing a mask.
And the bill says if an officer is found in violation, it could result in an infraction or misdemeanor. SB 627 will head to the Senate Public Safety Committee tomorrow and then to the Senate floor, where Senator Weiner says will hopefully pass and head to the governor's office desk to sign into law.
And to be clear, the law has officially passed. Now it's going to be up to the governor to see whether or not he's going to sign it. Again, my opinion is I don't think he's going to sign it. I would be utterly shocked. And I know that's saying something about Gavin Newsom, but still, I would be shocked if he signed this.
Evanston's Human Services Committee tonight is considering a resolution to ban federal agents from wearing masks to hide their faces.
Okay, so Evanston, Illinois, a suburb of Chicago, they're trying to do the exact same thing California is doing.
Yeah, outside of Chicago, other suburbs are watching all of this closely. For example, in North Chicago, the mayor there said activity is ramping up over at the Naval Station, while here in Evanston, the city council advancing a resolution to ban face masks on federal agents.
So what makes this a little different than California is, first things first, California on a unified front for the whole state level, they passed this bill. However, this is an isolated suburb, Evanston, who's trying to create and pass a policy that has pretty big consequences for the entire state, the city of Chicago, so I don't know what's going to happen here.
We've seen the masks on deportation raids, ICE agents in balaclavas.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Tonight, Evanston advancing a resolution urging Congress to ban masks on federal agents.
Hidden behind these masks. And so we need people to identify themselves. And there is actually no good reason, especially if you believe that you as a federal agent are acting within the law.
I mean, I can think of at least one scenario over in Portland where the federal agents have to wear their masks. If not, you can read the screen. Federal agents in Portland, their families are being posted on the street signs. Their faces are being posted on the street signs, the actual federal agents. So when you have local officials say, I can't think of any good reason, I mean, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel and I can probably give you a good one every single day as we cover the Portland story. And by the way, now it turns out the Trump administration, they are well aware of how wild it is in Portland, how dangerous it can be for federal agents. So this is why federal agents have always argued we have to wear a mask. This is not an assumption that they're trying to hide their identity. They have to hide their identity. Just look at Portland, a very, very dangerous situation.
Unidentifiable agents in unmarked vehicles with masks are planning to raid Latino communities.
At the governor's press conference, Illinois officials said they'd also fight in court if the National Guard is federalized to support ICE.
I have a question because nobody's talking about this. The National Guard members, if they are deployed to work side by side with ICE agents and other federal agents, are they going to get in trouble for wearing face coverings? Because for anyone who's ever served in the Army, to include myself, we wore our face coverings all the time. Maybe on purpose, maybe not. It's called a neck gaiter. You actually have to bring it with you almost anywhere you go. It's like a part of the kit. So my question is, if we're going to keep that same energy for federal agents, will the National Guard, once they get federalized, are they now going to be told you can't cover your face? It's just something I want to put out there. I want to have it on the record. I am talking about it now because when you start to make these blanket statements and the National Guard are just there as a support role, yet you're looping everyone in together, are they going to get in trouble for wearing their masks?
Or unmasking the protesters that turned violent in LA, that attacked our ICE officers, assaulted ICE officers, that destroyed millions of dollars in federal property, that attacked LAPD and the LA County Sheriffs? How about the man that threw a Molotov cocktail on the officers, which is a deadly issue? Any rules on that? Of course not.
Doesn't appear to be.
Politics over public safety.
Yeah, obviously to the Trump administration, they don't care about this bill. This is not a bill that can enforce anything on a federal level. A lot of this, at first, it sounded symbolic, but then when you dig into the bill, I advise you guys to go look this up, go look into it. If you are a Democrat in California, I wouldn't be happy about this bill. It's going to cost you some money, I think. Go look into this. It's really targeting like the other side of the coin, the state, local level, except for highway highway patrol, it looks like it's going after them. And I know it might not be intended to look that way, but it's definitely perceived. I mean, you're hearing it straight from the police unions. You guys are looping us in with the federal agents when we have nothing to do with what they're doing. And it's not that the local police don't have a problem with this bill as far as, okay, we get it, we won't wear a mask. But what about the officer who's just wearing a mask to wear a mask? He gets his photo taken. Now he's going to get sued. There's going to be political pressure. There's going to be protesters. That's why this is a very problematic for the local police, not for the federal agents. Tom Homan laughed at this. The Trump administration, they're not even acknowledging stuff like this anymore. But for California, yeah, this could be a little problematic. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. That's all I got for you. And when Gavin does or doesn't sign it, I will make a video on that for sure, because there's either going to be some outrage or people are going to be confused. Again, I don't think this looks good for anyone overall. Whoever really pushed for this bill and then signed off on it, I really do think the public perception was this bill is for the ICE agents and for the deportations, yet for everyone else who has nothing to do with the deportations, now they've been looped into it. So yeah, I know this video came off as me trying to help out the Democrats of California to figure it out, but one of the main reasons why I make my videos is to help educate the sanctuary city citizens, to let you guys know stuff like this happens all the time. There's a lot of misconceptions, and to me, it looks like you're being misled a little bit, so I'm just trying to help you out a little. You might want to go look into this bill, because your local police, yeah, this could actually create some problems for your own security in your own state, and for the taxpayers, again, this could become problematic. This is all according to the local police unions, by the way. So go look into this. I thank you guys so much for being here. God bless, and we'll see you all later.